South Africans don't trust authority. And honestly, we have every single reason not to. For generations, power in this country has been used to control, suppress, and punish us. From colonial rule to apartheid, to even now in democracy, we still carry the fear, the frustration, and the pain of being under someone else's control. But here's what we don't talk about enough: this isn't just political, it's spiritual and it's psychological. The trauma of apartheid didn't just end in 1994. It passed down through our parents, our institutions, and now lives in the way authority works today. And now we're left and we're stuck to deal with it. Apartheid didn't just ruin people's lives, it broke down families. It trained people to survive, and it taught people to shut down emotionally. And the people who went through that, a lot of them are running this country. They're now running the very systems that are still hurting us. Let's be real. The South African state wasn't designed to care for people. The system we deal with every day, such as home affairs, SASA, NSFAS, clinics, and schools, all come from an apartheid era model that was built to manage people, not to serve them. And that's what bureaucracy is: rules, forms, signatures, waiting in line. But here, it's more than that. It's cold, it's slow, it's traumatic. It's built to make you feel powerless. And that's why, even now, getting help from the state feels like a fight. You're made to feel small. I mean, look at NSFAS. It's supposed to help poor students access education. But every year, thousands, and I mean thousands, of students are randomly defunded mid year with no explanation. One minute you're covered, the next you're sleeping hungry, getting eviction letters, and wondering, how are you even going to get your degree? That's not just bad admin, that's violence disguised as a system. Quick intro: I literally forgot to introduce myself. My name is Mbali Lesedi Tanjikwayo. I am a UCT student and I care about my country and I care about the people in this country. I care about justice. I care about equity. And that's why I'm talking about this. And I will continue to, because when I look at who's leading us, I see trauma, I see survival mode. And that energy is running the country, unfortunately. Many of the people in power today never got to heal. They came from pain and went straight into power and now lead through fear, ego, or emotional numbness. Our president, Ramaphosa, he is a billionaire in the most unequal country in the world, literally. I mean, like, guys, how does he know what we need? How does he understand hunger or humiliation at a public hospital? Or how it feels like to be defunded randomly? How it feels like to be ghosted by NSFAS? And when it comes to real pain in the country, especially gender based violence, he's quiet. Where was he when the country was calling for justice for Gwede? The silence is loud and painful. I mean, majority of our population is unemployed and poor. So to expect a billionaire in this country to know the needs of the people would be a bit delulu. Because yes, maybe he can know on paper, but when it comes to real life experiences, a billionaire is way too out of touch to know the real struggles of everyday people in this country. Now, let's talk about real examples of broken authority. Number one, going back to Ramaphosa, he ignored mine workers at Marikana in 2012. And this was a man who built his name as a union leader. And he sided with mine bosses. He called the striking workers criminals. And when 34 men were gunned down by police, he went quiet. And now he's silent on GBV. But trust, he will speak at an investment conference. You will find him speaking at an investment conference in a heartbeat. That's not leadership. That's disconnection. That's trauma aligning with capital and oppressors, not people. Despite that, there have been instances where he's displayed good leadership, but that's still not addressing the elephant in the room. Now, moving on to Bheki Cele. Quick to defend police brutality, but slow to reform anything. Still treating people like suspects instead of citizens. And what makes it worse is it's not just police violence, it's corruption too. There have been recent reports of high level police officers being involved in organized crime, accepting bribes, even working with gangs and criminal networks. These are people who are supposed to protect us, not rob us in silence. They've turned uniform into hustle. And honestly, this isn't new. Under apartheid, which had the English bundles are running out. Under apartheid, the police were used to spy, silence, and control people. That culture of secrecy and abuse never really ended. It just morphed into something new, something more corporate. Now, instead of carrying out orders from the regime, they're stealing from the people they were meant to liberate. And if we're talking about betrayal, we have to talk about Jacob Zuma. Zuma was. Oh, sorry, that man kills me. Zuma was once seen as the man of the people who suffered through the struggle, but using his power to instead of using his power to heal the nation, he opened up doors for the Guptas, a rich family from India, basically to run the state. And through shady deals, fake tenders, and captured departments, millions, millions on top of millions were looted. Money that was meant for housing, hospitals, electricity, and jobs. And we're paying the price. We're still paying the price. And that's the pain. The very same people who were supposed to free us chose to feed off of us. Ooh, pause. If you notice a lighting difference and a position change, I just came back from my worship evening, so I'm just gonna pick up where we last left. But yeah, I literally came back and it was dark, and I started filming this video like in the afternoon. So moving on, then there's Gwede Mantashe, the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy. He's been pushing for mining projects in rural areas where communities have clearly said no, like Olobeni. It's a case study that I've been working closely with in my sociology course from first semester, SOC 2030F. This was a rural community where they'd been fighting against titanium mining for years because it would destroy their land and their way of life. And instead of respecting their right to say no, Mantashe has accused them of being anti-development. But what kind of development ignores people's voices? That's colonial and extractive logic. I mean, the same logic that was used under apartheid will decide what's best for you. It's just disrespect, and it's still happening today. And Angie Motshekka, she's been Minister of Basic Education for more than a decade, but public education is still failing millions. There are rural and township schools that are falling apart with no toilets, no textbooks, and overcrowded classrooms in 2025. Children are dying in pit latrines. That's not just poor service, that's neglect. That's saying poor black children don't matter, and yet she stays in that position like it's normal, like it's okay to let kids grow up in these conditions and call it education. This isn't what liberation was supposed to look like. Our people didn't fight to be oppressed by their own. We can't wait for the system to get better while people are still being hurt by it. So, what do we need? What we actually need is emotional healing, especially the people in charge, the leaders, the ministers, the officials. A lot of them are still leading from survival mode, still reacting from unhealed pain, and they've never been given the space to process what they've been through, which is why I say give them a little bit of grace. When you don't heal, you pass it on. And for us, the younger generation, the ones coming up, like myself, we have to be the interruption. We can't lead the same way. We have to see these patterns and also be able to stop them before we repeat them. Otherwise, we'll inherit the same cold, disconnected version of power. And that isn't freedom. That's trauma with a new face. So, for us, students, or just younger people who are going to be the future leaders of this country, um, or just future world leaders, we need to be aware of this and be sure not to repeat the same mistakes. We've seen what unhealed power looks like, but it doesn't have to stay this way. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17 says, "Learn to do right, seek justice, and defend the oppressed." That's the work, not just for those in power, but for us too, the next generation. We have a chance to lead differently. And honestly, I pray we do, because I know that I will. But everyone else needs to catch up. And yeah, guys, that was me. That was me. Um, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is my first time making a politically inclined video on this channel specifically. Um, I have a bunch of different YouTube channels and like social media accounts, but I've currently deactivated all my other social media accounts, including my TikTok, where I used to make videos like this. So the only social media I'm active on is YouTube and LinkedIn. That's the only social media. So if you want to see more of this type of content, let me know in the comments. Um, Most of the videos that I've made on this channel, which is still very new, is mostly me talking about spirituality and holistic stuff. But if you want to see more content like this, let me know. Let me know. Because I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. This is just the beginning. But yeah, guys, I love you. God loves you. And goodbye.